Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com. I know I shared a video with you all recently on how I made these great gnome cards. These I actually did kind of in the style of no-line watercoloring, but I did them with Stampin' blends. So what we did is we chose a lighter shade of paper. So I have Parakeet Party, I want to keep calling this Melon Mambo, Sweet Sorbet, and Tempting Turquoise. No, Tahitian Tide. See, I am really flashing back. And what we did is I used darker colors of Stampin' blends to kind of create your own mushroom. We also used a white gel pen to add all these accents. So there's also a simpler way to create this card, and it involves a lot of our DSP, which is adorable. It's so cute. I really must say that I love this stamp set. However, the DSP is so sweet and fun. I mean, if you can't find something in it that you like, you just have to flip to the other side. We have this beautiful Storybook Gnomes suite. It has snowy mushrooms, little mushrooms, there's deer, fox, there's gnomes, so many things that you can do ahead of time that are pre-die cut, which is great. You can even die cut the gnomes, you can do the houses, or you can go ahead and make your own gnome. So you can see here, this one was actually done using most likely the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And then they colored it in with the blends, which is adorable. Looks like they have a little bit of snowy effects here, but this doesn't have to be just a Christmas card, which is super fun. One other thing I want to show you in the back of the catalog here, and I don't know if you have ever noticed this, but I'm going to show you anyway, is when you look at the different suites back here, they will often give you an idea that has absolutely nothing to do with the way the suite is. So this one here is the gnome. You can see it's die cut. They kind of did a little bit of shadowing with the mushrooms and the grass. They did use snowflake paper, but you can't really tell that it's snowflakes. So it's kind of nice because it's totally un-Christmas related and a different way for you to use the gnome. So I like the fact that they have those second bundles back there. So we did work on this card when we created it last time, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make one with die cut, with a DSP die cut, I should say. This is what the other side looks like, mushroom. And then I did use still the die cut gnome. There's a couple other little pieces, but if you wanted to, you could also use the DSP gnomes as well. So I'm going to grab the two mushrooms, the two stems, the grass, and I'm going to cut two of those, and a nose. Most of this already, like I said, I did pre-die cut, but there's a couple things that need to be done. So we'll do most of them at the same time. So for the grass, this one I'm going to have to run through 2 times. One grass, and I'll run a second one. And then I don't know if I can get any more out of this piece. So we'll go into our extra piece here. I'm going to put this at the bottom. And then I'm going to, we'll go this way, put my nose, the mushroom stems, and the mushroom caps. As you can see, I'm using my big shot, so I still have that kind of wonkiness with the magnet, but at least I have a magnetic plate. I'm going to run these through. And these are all going to come out pretty simply. Okay, so I'm just going to move these off to the side. I just have to go back and do one more grass die cut. Put this off to the side. I can probably eke one out of here somewhere. You okay, bud?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, sound like a catastrophe down there.
Yeah,
Butter knife fell?
but
Oh, are you okay? All right, so here's our other grass. So pretty much that's really it for what we need to do with the die cutting. Just gonna pop these back in my gnomes. What did I do with them? Oh, here they are back here. Just gonna put these in here for now so I don't lose them. Okay, so what I did, grab a piece of scrap, is you can die cut a lot of these ahead of time out of the DSP, and they will have additional color in them. But you can also take Calypso Coral and, oops, turn this back over, a couple of these flips the other way. And I'm going to just take a little bit of Calypso Coral. So this will be the perfect time if you have paper left over from your adhesive sheets. You can kind of hang on to this, and I'm trying to do the part that you can actually see. This part will be under the mushroom cap, so you won't see it so much. You just add a little bit of color. Oops. By holding this, and it'll kind of save your fingers from getting terrifically dirty. Okay. A little bit of that teeny bit. Oh, that nose is the wrong way. Teeny bit on his nose. So there's that. That was Calypso Coral, and I probably didn't say the paper was Petal Pink. Then I'm going to grab, and I'm just going to brush this off. This was using Starry Sky, but I'm going to grab Starry Sky ink, and I'm going to try not to be too heavy-handed with this. I'm going to just add a little bit of ink to start off, and then I'm going over the top of the hat just to give it a little bit of color, so not too much. And then, I always think this is kind of a cute extra if you have it. The Starry Sky Stampin' Right marker, I'm going to use the thinner end, and I kind of just put some patches there as if his hat was repaired. So you could add that. You don't have to. Totally up to you either way. Then I'm going to grab my Granny Apple Green, and I have his pants / feet and these two grasses. So I'm just grabbing a blender brush, and I'm just going to do a little bit on the bottom of the feet, and then a little bit on the grass. That looks good. Now you do want to keep this out because we're going to need this for our base card. So that's pretty much, I think, everything we have in a nutshell. If you wanted to add a little bit of maybe slight blue to his beard, kind of go on the end. I don't know. Sometimes when things are white, if you add a little bit of blue to them, it kind of makes them pop slightly more. So it just depends. So we're going to go ahead and assemble this before we put the rest of it together. You can just use liquid glue if you like. If you want to use mini glue dots, you could. And I'm going to make sure the part that I added the color to is on the bottom. Oops. So here is his nose. And it kind of has these little indicators of where you're going to put things. You'll see a little indent there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's where his hat is going to go. So let's put a little bit of liquid glue here and here. Put this on. And just kind of hold it for a second. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue across the bottom. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to show you that I did. This is really just deciding whether you do or don't want to do it. You absolutely don't have to. But the other thing I did is I took the, I'm just going to grab Garden Green because it's easier to grab. I took the writing portion of the Stampin' Right, and I just went over the little crisscrosses on his feet, and I'll show you so you can see the difference. So that one was not done. This one was done. So I just kind of filled in on there. I just kind of thought it was a little bit something extra cute. Again, you can omit it. You don't have to do it. Just depending on whatever you wanted to do. The only other thing we have are our mushrooms. I'm going to put just a teeny bit of glue here. See if I can get that to stick for a second. And if it falls over, it's okay. Mushrooms are kind of wonky, right? And this one. Oops, don't want it sticking to my finger. There we go. There's that one. This one's a little bit more curvy. Okay. And finally, the only other thing we're going to do is grab our white base card. And I'm not going to fold this yet. So what I'm going to do is kind of eyeball where I want my stuff. So if I have my house here approximately and my gnome here, so kind of looking for where is the part where you're going to need grass. If you want to do a little higher, a little bit lower, all at the same spot. So I'm going to say I'm going to have kind of grass across here. So I'm going to just move this over. Same thing, I have my Granny Apple and a blender brush. I kind of tend to like to just do this little dotting so it gives you a little bit of shadowing under where they are. And then you can also blend up a little bit. Just seeing like that. And then him kind of here. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to call it quits with that. Again, that was Granny Apple Green. And then all we're going to do is put these guys in place. So I'm going to put this flat, and then we'll pop up a little bit of the other stuff. So put him here, little house. Okay. Put our little gnome. I guess the only thing that's funny with this is we don't have any female gnome dies on this particular die set, because there are female gnomes here, so we need to expand our gnomes, our gnome. Let's see, put this here, this guy here, maybe that one over there. All right, I'm gonna put these up on dimensionals only because I just want to pop a little something up. So I'm going to go back to my small dimensionals. We don't really need a lot for these because I know they are a little bit taller, but they're not really huge. There's one. I was going to put one on the back of this. Oops. And I'm going to go with two. I'm going to put one on the top and then one kind of where the connection is, just so it doesn't get broken. If you wanted to cut off a little slim side piece to add something to this, you certainly could, but you don't really have to. You can even, if you wanted to, and I know I didn't put this on there yet, if you want to put a little teeny bit of glue right here underneath, that way that one will stay in place. You can do that. And then let's find where our last piece, I feel like I had one over here. Maybe this one will be behind. Yeah. So I'm going to put two here. And then same two on the back of the grass. And this kind of will help this little guy to stay in place. Let's go like this. Other thing you could do if you wanted to, if you wanted the whole thing popped up, is you could also die cut the adhesive foam and then just stick these all together like that. So that's another kind of choice you have. So this little adhesive here is kind of helping to keep the bottom of that in place because it's stuck to it before it's gone. And last but not least, I'm going to close this. And I thought just to do something a little bit different, I'm not going to use a sentiment from the Gnomes. I actually saw one which I used for something earlier. Is that straight? Yeah, that's good. Is the Inspired Wishes stamp set. So I'll show you what I mean. Inspired Wishes, is that what it's called? Inspired Thoughts. So I thought it would be really nice, one of these. You make a difference every day. I'm going to use that one. So I thought that was cute. If I can find it. There it is. You could even do thinking of you on your special day. But I am going to stamp this, and I should have done this ahead of time. So please, if you have not already made this card, think of this the next time you're creating cards. It's almost smarter to always figure out where you want to put your sentiment. That way you don't run out of room and then you don't know where to put it. Just stamp this on a scrap. I just want to make sure it's nice. Yep. Nice. Just like that. And then finally, one other thing you could do if you wanted to. Again, totally optional. You could do this a couple different ways. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So we do have, and I have not used this thus far. I'm pretty sure we had this last year as well. But we do have the Snowfall Accents Puff Paint. You could do this on the little white spots. You could take your white gel pen and just kind of re-add a little bit to them. It kind of gives just a little bit more. You could even add like a couple other tiny spots yourself, just to make them a little bit whiter, so they're a little bit more noticeable. And I tend to kind of go all over when I do the dots. The other thing you could do is you could even add little white spots. There's 3 little guess they're debossed marks on these mushrooms. So I tend to add a little spot to them. You could probably do like little red spots, little white spots. Other thing you could do too as well, I just thought of this, was another cool idea, is the shimmery crystal effects. So if you wanted to, and since I'm completely finished with this, this is the only reason I'm doing it. So you always have to make sure whenever you use the crystal effects that you wait until you are fully done, because this needs to sit on the side and dry. I got a little ink smudge there, but I'm going to show you something really quickly before I do this, just in case you may or may not have this. This is something you can get on Amazon. I cannot think of the name of who makes it now, but I know I have it tagged on my Amazon list. It's actually a double-sided eraser. This side is sand, and if you're super duper gentle, it will erase ink. The only thing you have to be careful is that it actually does remove a layer of your cardstock, and you can actually erase far enough that you can make a hole. So you don't want to do that. And worst case scenario, if you goof something up, you can always put something on top of it. Or guess what? It's also a homemade card, so don't worry too much about it. All right, so I'm going to show you one more thing with this. So you have your shimmery crystal effects. So I'm going to just make sure this doesn't goop out real quick, because I do keep it upside down. But so what you do is you squeeze. Oh, come on, Rach. My fingers are tired. You squeeze and you kind of spread with the tip, and then you could make this look almost as if it was really glass. You could also probably put this on with a paintbrush if you wanted to make a little pile on your silicone mat, or show you what I mean. You could squeeze a little pile on your silicone mat and then use this as your paintbrush. Put a little bit on this bottom window. Just since I did the one, I might as well. Okay, and again, this takes considerable time to dry. So I'm talking, you want to let this sit, I would say for 8 hours, honestly. Only because if for some reason I always end up putting my finger in something and then it'll have a smudge in it, but it will dry completely clear. And I'm not sure if you can see the reflection off of that or not, but it's really cute. It gives a little bit of detail. So you have this, you have your colors, you have the windows, we have the extra white that we added. It really, considering the fact that you die cut this, does give it a totally authentic feel to it, which I think is just adorable. So I hope you guys enjoyed this card video as much as I enjoyed. And one other thing to tell you, when you're finished with your silicone mat, for whatever it is that you may use it on, you can do one of two things. You can either take it and rinse it off. You can let whatever the stuff is dry. You can wipe it off if you have a like a microfiber cloth that does wipe clean. Pretty much everything comes off of this, which does make it really nice. But if for some reason you can't get something off of it, a lot of times waiting for it to dry and then peeling it usually will bring it off. But honestly, there's a couple things that I've done that haven't come off of it, but it never really affects me being able to use it. So once it's dry, I guess I just kind of work around it, because you know me, I sort of go with the flow. So this was the card that we created the other day. And again, that was kind of using more of a no line watercoloring with the blend. So it's not watercoloring. I guess I would call it no line Stampin' blend coloring, maybe, because you are using something that is a similar color scheme or tone. And then if you want to take a little bit simpler route, go ahead and use the die cut DSP. There are die cuts for all of these gnomes, or if you wanted to, you could even, this is the only one where you can see his eyes, you could even stamp these guys and color them in with the blends and do the same thing. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If for some reason you didn't catch this other video, it is it's pretty recent, probably within the past 2 or 3 weeks that I created it, so you can go ahead and back and watch that. If you have any questions, you can always reach me at rachthestamper@gmail.com. If you would like to get any of these supplies and more, you can shop my online store 24/7, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. I also will have a blog post linked to this underneath, which will give you all the measurements and the colors I use and everything. And then I'm going to make a new post for this one, but I will add the link back to this one so you can see the original video as well. Thank you guys so much for watching me today. If you haven't already, I would love for you to leave a comment, and I would love for you to like and subscribe to my channel. If you do that, make sure you turn on the notifications so every time I make a new video, you will see it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.